Ruth chapter 3, Naomi the matchmaker. Naomi, her mother-in-law, said to her, "My daughter, should I not be seeking a resting place for you, so it may go well for you? Now is Boaz, with whose female workers you have been, not our relative? Look, he will be winnowing barley tonight at the threshing floor. So bathe and perfume yourself, put on your cloak, and go down to the threshing floor, but do not make yourself known to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. Let it be that when he lies down, and you know the place where he lies down, go and cover his feet and lie down there. He will tell you what to do." Ruth answered her, "I will do everything you say." So she went down to the threshing floor and did everything her mother-in-law had said. After Boaz ate, drank, and was in a good mood, he went to lie down at the far side of the grain pile. So she came to the grain pile, quietly uncovered his feet, and lay down. Now in the middle of the night, the man was startled and pulled back, and to his surprise, a woman was lying at his feet. "Who are you?" he asked. "I am Ruth, your handmaid," she answered. "Spread the corner of your garment over your handmaid, for you are a Goel." "May you be blessed by Adonai, my daughter," he replied. "You have made the latter act of loyalty greater than the first, by not running after the young men, whether rich or poor. Now, my daughter, do not be afraid. Everything you propose I will do for you, for everyone in town knows that you are a woman of valor. Although it is true that I am a Goel, there is no one who is a closer Goel than me. Stay here tonight, and in the morning, if he will be your Goel, good, let him do so. But if he is not willing to be your Goel, then I will be your Goel myself. As surely as Adonai lives, lie down until morning." So she lay at his feet until morning, but got up before one person could be distinguished from another. For he said, "Do not let it be known that the woman came to the threshing floor." And he said, "Bring the cloak you are wearing and hold it out." She held it out and he poured 6 measures of barley into it and put it on her. Then he returned to town. When Ruth came back to her mother-in-law Naomi asked, "How did it go, my daughter?" So Ruth told her all that the man had done for her. She said, "He gave me 6 measures of barley, for he said, 'You shouldn't go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed.'" "Wait, my daughter," Naomi said, "until you find out how the matter turns out, for he will not rest until he has settled the matter today." Ruth chapter 4. Who will redeem? Meanwhile, Boaz has gone up to the gate and sat down there. And all of a sudden, by the Goel, about whom Boaz had spoken, passed by. "Come over," he called, "and sit down here, my friend." So he came over and sat down. And Boaz took 10 of the town's elders and said, "Sit down here." So they sat down. Then he said to the Goel, "Naomi, who has returned from the region of Moab, is selling the parcel of land that belongs to our brother Elimelech. I thought I should inform you, saying, 'Buy it in the presence of the people sitting here, and in the presence of the elders of my people. If you want to redeem it, redeem it. But if it will not be redeemed, then tell me, so that I can know, because there is no one else in line to redeem it. I am after you.' 'I will redeem it,' he said. Then Boaz said, 'On the day you buy the field from Naomi's hand, you will also acquire Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of the deceased, in order to raise up the name of the deceased over this inheritance.' The kinsman said, 'Then I cannot redeem it for myself, or else I might endanger my own inheritance. You take my right of redemption for yourself, for I cannot redeem it.' Now in the past in Israel, one removed his sandal and gave it to another in order to finalize the redemption and transfer a matter. This was a legal transaction in Israel. So the kinsman said to Boaz, 'Buy it for yourself,' then took off his shoe. Boaz announced to the elders and all the people, 'You are witnesses today that I have bought from Naomi all that belonged to Elimelech and all that belonged to Chilion and Mahlon. Moreover, I have acquired Ruth the Moabitess, the widow of Mahlon, to be my wife, in order to raise up the name of the deceased over his inheritance, so that the name of the deceased will not be cut off from his brothers or from the gate of his town. You are witnesses today.' All the people at the gate and the elders said, 'We are witnesses. May Adonai make the woman who has come into your house like Rachel and Leah, who both built up the house of Israel. May you prosper in Ephrath and be renowned in Bethlehem. May your spouse house be like the house of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah, through the seed that Adonai will give you by this young woman.' So Boaz took Ruth, and she became his wife. When he went to her, Adonai enabled her to conceive, and she gave birth to a son. Then the woman said to Naomi, 'Blessed be Adonai, who has not left you without a Goel today. May his name be famous throughout Israel. Moreover, he will be to you a renewer of life and a sustainer of your old age, for your daughter-in-law, who loves you and is better to you than 7 sons, has given birth to him.' Naomi took the child and held it to her bosom and took care of him. The neighboring woman gave him a name, saying, "A son has been born to Naomi," so they called him Obed. He was the father of Jesse, the father of David. These are the generations of Perez. Perez fathered Hezron. Hezron fathered Ram. Ram fathered Amminadab. Amminadab fathered Nahshon. Nahshon fathered Salmon. Salmon fathered Boaz. Boaz fathered Obed. Obed fathered Jesse. And Jesse fathered David. Lamentations chapter 1. Song of Jerusalem's groaning. How lonely sits the city, once so full of people. She who was once great among the nations has become like a widow. The princess among the provinces has become a forced laborer. Bitterly she weeps in the night. Her tears are on her cheeks. Among all her lovers there is no one to comfort her. All her friends have betrayed her. They have become her enemies. Judah has gone into exile under affliction and great servitude. She dwells among the nations. She finds no resting place. All her pursuers have overtaken her in the midst of her distress. The roads to Zion mourn, for no one comes to her Moedim. All her gates are desolate, her Kohanim groan, her maidens grieve. She is in bitter anguish, her foes have become her masters. Her enemies are at ease, for Adonai has afflicted her because of her many transgressions. Her children have gone away as captives before the adversary. All her splendor has departed from the daughter of Zion. Her princes are like stags that find no pasture. They have fled without strength before the pursuer. In the days of her affliction and her wandering, Jerusalem remembers all the treasures that were hers from the days of old, when her people fell into the enemy hands. There was no one to help her. Her enemies saw her and mocked her at her destruction. Jerusalem has greatly sinned. Therefore she has become neither. All who honored her despise her, for they have seen her nakedness. She herself groans and turns away. Her uncleanness was in her skirts. She did not consider her future. Her demise was astonishing. There was no one to comfort her. Adonai, see my affliction, for the enemy has triumphed. The enemy has stretched his hand over all her treasures. She even saw nations enter her sanctuary, those who had commanded not to enter your congregation. All her people groan as they seek bread. They traded their treasures for food to keep themselves alive. Look, Adonai, and see, for I have become despised. Is it nothing to you, all who pass by on the road? Look and see, is any suffering like my suffering that was brought on me, that Adonai has inflicted in the day of his fierce anger? From on high he set fire into my bones, and it overcame them. He spread out a net for my feet, he turned me back. He made me desolate, faint all the day long. My transgressions are bound into a yoke, woven together by his hand. They have come upon my neck, and he has sapped my strength. The Lord delivered me over to those I cannot withstand. The Lord has rejected the almighty ones in my midst. He has summoned an assembly against me to crush my young men in a winepress. The Lord has trampled the virgin daughter of Judah. Over these things I weep. My eyes overflow with water. For far from me is a comforter who might refresh my soul. My children are desolate because the enemy has prevailed. Zion spreads out her hands. There is no one to comfort her. Adonai has decreed against Jacob. Those surrounding him have become his foes. Jerusalem has become neither in their eyes. Adonai is righteous, for I have rebelled against his word. Hear now, all peoples, look at my suffering. My maidens and my young men have gone into captivity. I called to my lovers, they deceived me. The Kohanim and my elders perished in the city when they sought food to keep themselves alive. Look, Adonai, for I am in distress. My stomach churns, my heart pounds within me, for I have been very rebellious. Outside the sword bereaves, in the house it is like death. They have heard me groaning. There is no one to comfort me. All my enemies heard of my distress. They rejoice that you have done it. May you bring about the day that you proclaim, so that they may become like me. Let all their evil come before you. Deal with them as you dealt with me, because of all my transgressions, for my groans are many and my heart is faint. Lamentations chapter 2. Lament for Zion. How my Lord has clouded over the daughter of Zion in his anger. He hurled down the splendor of Israel from heaven to earth. He has not remembered his footstool in the day of his anger. My Lord has mercilessly swallowed up all the dwellings of Jacob. He threw down the strongholds of the daughter of Judah in his fury. He knocked to the ground and humiliated the kingdom and its princes. In fierce anger he has cut off every horn of Israel. He has withdrawn his right hand from before the enemy. He blazed against Jacob like raging fire, devouring everything around. He bent his bow like an enemy, set his right hand like a foe, and killed all those pleasant to the eye. In the tent of the daughter of Zion he has poured out his wrath like fire. My Lord is like an enemy. He swallowed up Israel. He swallowed up all her citadels, destroyed her fortifications, and multiplied mourning and moaning for the daughter of Judah. Like the garden, he laid waste his dwelling, destroyed his appointed meeting place. Adonai has caused Moab and Shabbat to be forgotten in Zion. In the indignation of his anger, he spurned the king Cohen. The Lord rejected his altar, despised his sanctuary. He has delivered the walls of her citadels into the hand of the enemy. They raised a shout in the house of Adonai, as if it were the day of Moed. Adonai resolved to destroy the wall of the daughter of Zion. He stretched out a measuring line. He did not withdraw his hand from destroying. He caused rampart and wall to lament together as they languished away. Her gates sank into the ground. Her bars he destroyed and shattered. Her king and princes are among the nations. There is no more Torah. Also her prophets find no vision from Adonai. The elders of the daughter of Zion sit upon the ground in silence. They threw dust on their heads and girded themselves with sackcloth. The maidens of Jerusalem have bowed their heads to the ground. My eyes are filled with tears. My stomach is in torment. My heart is poured out on the ground over the destruction of the daughter of my people. As young children and infants languish in the city squares, they say to their mothers, "Where is grain and wine?" As they faint like a wounded soldier in the city squares, as their lives ebb away in their mother's bosom. How can I admonish you? To what can I compare you? O daughter of Jerusalem, to what can I liken you, so that I might console you? O virgin daughter of Zion, for your wound is as deep as the sea. Who can heal you? Your prophets have seen for you false and worthless visions. They did not expose your iniquity so as to restore your captivity. Rather, they have seen for you false and worthless oracles. All who pass your way clap their hands at you. They hiss and shake their heads at the daughter of Jerusalem, in this city of which they said, the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth. All your enemies open their mouth wide against you. They hiss and gnash their teeth and say, we have swallowed her up. Surely this is the day we have waited for. We have lived to see it. Adonai has done what he has planned. He has fulfilled his word that he commanded from the days of old. He has overthrown you without pity. He enabled the enemy to gloat over you. He has exalted the horn of your foes. Their heart cries out to the Lord, O wall of the daughter of Zion. Let tears run down like a river day and night. Give yourself no relief, your eyes no rest. Arise, cry out in the night, at the beginning of the watches. Pour out your heart like water before the presence of the Lord. Lift up your hands to him for the life of your children who faint from hunger. At the head of every street. Look, Adonai, and consider with whom you have dealt so severely. Should women eat their offspring, their healthy newborn infant? Should Kohen and prophet be slain in the sanctuary of the Lord? On the ground in the streets lie both young and old. My maidens and my young men have fallen by the sword. You slew them in the days of your anger. You slaughtered them without pity. As on a Moed day, you summoned against me terrors on every side. On the day of the wrath of Adonai, no one escaped or survived, to whom I bore and raised my enemy has destroyed. Lamentations chapter 3. I am the strong man who has seen affliction by the rod of his wrath. He has driven me and made me walk in darkness and not light. Surely he has turned sand against me, again and again all day long. He made my flesh and my skin waste away, broken my bones. He has besieged me and surrounded me with bitterness and hardship. He made me dwell in dark places, like those long dead. He has walled me in so I cannot get out. He made my chain heavy. Even when I cry out and call for help, he shuts out my prayer. He walked in my ways with hewn stone. He twisted my paths. He is a lurking bear to me, a lion in hiding. He turned aside my paths and tore me to pieces. He has made me desolate. He bent his bow and made me the target for his arrow. He shot into my kidneys arrows from his quiver. I have become a laughingstock to all my people, their song all day long. He filled me with bitterness and made me drink wormwood. He broke my teeth with gravel. He made me wallow in ashes. My soul has been deprived of shalom. I have forgotten goodness. So I said, my endurance has perished, and my hope from Adonai. Remember my affliction, my homelessness, bitterness, and gall. Whenever I remember, my soul is downcast within me. Our hope, his faithfulness. This I recall to my heart. Therefore I have hope, because of the mercies of Adonai. We will not be consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. Adonai is my portion, says my soul. Therefore I will hope in him. Adonai is good to those who wait for him, and to the soul that seeks him. It is good to wait quietly for the salvation of Adonai. It is good for a man to bear the yoke in his youth. Let him sit alone and be silent, since he has laid it upon him. Let him put his mouth in the dust. There may yet be hope. Intercession for justice. Let him offer his cheek to the one who strikes him. Let him have his fill of disgrace, for the Lord will not reject forever. For though he has caused grief, yet he will have compassion according to his abundant mercies. For he does not afflict from his heart, or grieve the sons of men to crush under his foot all the prisoners of the land, to deprive a person of justice before the face of Elyon, to defraud a person in his lawsuit. Who would the Lord not see? Who speaks and it comes to pass unless the Lord has decreed it? It is not from the mouth of Elyon that both calamities are good and good things proceed. Why should any living person complain when punished for his sins? Let us examine and test our ways. Let us return to Adonai. Let us lift up our hearts and hands to God in heaven. We have transgressed and rebelled. You have not pardoned. You covered yourself with anger and pursued us. You have slain without pity. You shrouded yourself with a cloud so that no prayer can get through. You have made us scum and refuse in the midst of the peoples. All our enemies open their mouth wide against us. Panic and pitfall have befallen us, devastation and destruction. Streams of tears run down my eyes because of the destruction of the daughter of my people. My eye flows unceasingly without stopping, until Adonai looks down from heaven and sees. My eyes torment my soul because of all the daughters of my city. For no reason my enemies hunted me down like a bird. They cut off my life in the pit and cast stones upon me. Waters flowed over my head. I said, I have been cut off. I called on your name, Adonai, from the depths of the pit. You heard my voice. Do not close your ears to my cry for relief. You drew near the day I called to you. You said, do not fear. Lord, you played my soul's case. You redeemed my life. Adonai, you saw the wrong done to me. Judge my cause. You have seen all their vengefulness, all their schemes against you. You heard their taunt, Adonai, all their plots against me, the lips of my assailants, and their whispering are against me all day long. Look at them, sitting or standing. They mock me in their song. Pay them back what they deserve, Adonai, according to the work of their hands. Give them a distraught heart, and may your curse be on them. Pursue them in anger and destroy them from under the heavens of Adonai.